Hello, everyone, and welcome to the next episode of Manomet's Small Sit virtual series, Rallying for Recovery in the Americas, Building Capacity for Shorebird Conservation with Jeisson Zamudio, Manomet's Pacific South America Coordinator. Jeisson joined Manomet's Flyway program in October 2023 with the goal of supporting the implementation of the Pacific Americas Shorebird Conservation Strategy in Chile, Peru, Ecuador, and Colombia. I'm Gina Rourke, Manomet's Senior Director of Marketing and Communications, and I will be your MC today. If you're new to Manomet, a little background on our organization. We use science and collaboration to reverse shorebird decline, promote coastal resilience, and educate and inspire the next generation of conservationists across the Western Hemisphere. And if you're a friend, volunteer, trustee, counselor, or donor to Manomet already, then thank you. It is only with your support that we can continue to get our boots muddy, doing hands-on science in collaboration with local partners. And just a couple of housekeeping notes for today's webinar. First, we'd love for attendees to type into the chat where you're all Zooming from. And then after that, we're going to reserve the chat for any tech issues that you might be having that we could potentially help with on the back end. And we welcome your curiosity, so please type any questions you have into the Q&A box, and Jeisson will be happy to answer them at the end of the presentation as time allows. And now I will turn it over to Jeisson Zamudio. Jeisson, the floor is yours.
Hi, Jane. Thank you so much for introducing me to this and invite me to this small sit. I'm gonna share my screen now. Okay, you can see it?
Yes.
Okay, great.
Thanks, Jeisson.
Okay, hello, everyone. Thank you so much for being here in this small sit. As Jean said, I am Jeisson Zamudio, Pacific South American Coordinator for Manomet Conservation Sciences. And I am here to talk about the work we do to strengthen local capacity in Western Hemisphere Shorebird Reserve network sites. So first of all, I think it's important to define what capacity building is. Well, capacity building is the process of developing and strengthening the skills, abilities, instincts, processes, and resources that organizations and communities need, and why it matters for conservation of shorebirds. According with the latest State of the World Birds report, shorebirds population are dropping dramatically. In the Western Hemisphere, 6 species of shorebirds have been uplisted from least concern to vulnerable, with another 8 advancing from least concern to near threatened, or from near threatened to vulnerable. Threats like agriculture, logging, invasive species, hunting, and climate change are the main drivers of bird declines, according with this report. So the situation of shorebirds in the world is very concerning. In the case of the Pacific America flyways, and according with the Pacific America Shorebird Conservation Strategy, the main threat facing shorebirds is climate change, but other threats like development, invasive species, disturbance from recreational activities, water use and management, shoreline and wetland modification are considered high threats. So to tackle these threats, we need people. Shorebirds need people who are willing and prepared to take on the challenges of shorebird conservation. That's why strengthening people's capacity is so important, and that's why we are committed to that task. But what happens when conserving shorebirds requires a large-scale effort? That is exactly what the Western Hemisphere Shorebird Reserve Network, with its more than 120 sites throughout the Americas, is looking for by engaging with partners and working together to strengthen local capacity. We use virtual tools because it allows us to reach a higher number of research sites, some of which are in very isolated areas. Also, trainers can deliver their classes from anywhere in the world. And virtual tools offer a set of functions to teach and evaluate students. So it's a very useful tool that we can implement to reach a big number of partners in Wisner sites. So I am going to show you what we did early this year to strengthen local capacity in Wisner sites and beyond. We ran an introductory training program for shorebird conservation in the Pacific America Flyway. This program was an idea of our senior specialist in policy and governance, Diego Luna, for the project delivering shorebird conservation on local and national scales. And it was funded by the Packer Foundation. This program aimed to increase the effectiveness of conservation efforts for shorebirds and their habitats through the generation of specific capacities of site managers, local governments, and civil society organizations at Wizard sites, most of them located on the Pacific Flyway of Central and South America. This program wasn't possible without the contribution of our partners. 20 speakers from 11 organizations shared their knowledge on different topics related with shorebird conservation. So the program consisted of 6 modules that included shorebird conservation. In this first module, speakers talk about what are shorebirds and why are they important, also the threats that they are facing, and the conservation actions needed at flyway scale, as well as a national level. The second module was about community engagement. Speakers talk about tools for community engagement, also about the leadership of women in shorebird conservation and youth participation in shorebird conservation. The third module was good governance, where speakers talk about key principles and components and gave a couple of examples of successful cases in Chile. The fourth module was about species and populations monitoring, where speakers introduced methods in shorebird monitoring applied to different situations in shorebird research and conservation. The fifth module was about human well-being in important sites for shorebird conservation. And in this module, speakers covered topics related with human well-being and ecosystem services. And finally, the final module was about environmental impact assessment in shorebirds and habitat, where speakers show us a couple of cases where shorebirds are included in environmental impact studies. So as you can see, we cover a set of different topics that are really important for shorebird conservation. And even when we cover those topics in a very basic sense, it was very useful for the attendees. The program was delivered in Spanish. Also, it is important to say that each module was delivered every Friday for 1 hour and 30 minutes and with the participation of 2 to 4 speakers. So we don't have too much time, the people for too much time. We wanted them to have not to require too much time, because most of the attendees were people that was working or leaving the office during that time in the week. Attendees could ask their questions through a question and answer chat that was answered at the end of the session. And that was what we did in each of the modules. Here we can hear Richard Johnston. This is an example of one speaker in the first module, and he is explaining about key aspects for in shorebirds. So he here is explaining about general characteristics for sandpipers. And explaining about the color of the feathers. That they use the color to hide from predators. Okay, so what we found during this training program, we found that over 270 people from 11 countries registered to the program, and 150 of them from 10 countries obtained their certification by attending most of the modules. The vast majority of the attendees came from Chile with 67 people, followed by Mexico and Colombia. This is if you can see the graph, Chile has way too much people attending the program, and that's probably related with the size of the coast of Chile in the Pacific. We also found that young people is also very interested in conservation and shorebirds. We got that the majority of people attending the program was between 26 and 45 years old. And this is I think this is good news because it is important to have young people engaged with conserving our biodiversity and especially migratory shorebirds. Regarding the education level, we found that most of the attendees were professionals, followed by postgraduates and technicians. To be honest, this surprised me because I was expecting people from more, I don't know, like just a school level attending the program, but I think it's very interesting that professional postgraduate technicians are attending this program and getting and are including shorebirds, topics, and conservation in their work. We also wanted to know which social sector the attendees belong. And we found that local NGOs were the most interested in shorebird conservation, followed by government employees. And I think that this is what we were expecting, and it's good news to have government employees and government agencies interested in shorebird conservation, because it's one of the main goals that we have in the Pacific America shorebird conservation strategy, but also in national plans in South America, in the Pacific of South America. We also conduct a couple of surveys to find out the degree of student satisfaction with the training program. And we found that almost 100% of the attendees were satisfied or very satisfied with the program. So that is very satisfied for us too. And we also found that almost 100% of the attendees will be using the knowledge acquired in the future work. So we are, I think this is very important because this is exactly what we want to do with the program. The program wants, the aim of the program is to contribute to the future work of local partners in shorebird conservation. So I think we are getting the goal done. So where are we going next? With these results, we see a big opportunity to continue supporting local partners in strengthening their capacities. And that's why we will be starting building a stronger capacity building program, training program for next year. We expect to be starting this new program around August of 2025. Also, we hope that this program will be attended by Spanish and Portuguese speakers. We want to expand the number of countries in Latin America. We see that Brazil is a large country with a large coastline, and we are interested in jointly strengthening its capabilities and capacities. We want also include assignments, readings, forums, discussions, and assessments in our program. We want to build a diverse program in terms of content and educational tools. So I'm really happy to be not alone in this task. I'm working with colleagues and partners in the Americas to have a stronger capacity building program. And finally, I want to come back to this slide. Thanks again to all our partners of the Western Hemisphere Shorebird Reserve Network, whom are committed with the conservation of shorebirds, whom together we have been working in building on strengthening capacities in the Americas. And I think that that's why we feel that we are not alone in this task. So thank you so much to them, and thank you so much to you all to hearing me in this small set.
Thank you so much, Jeisson. It's really amazing how we can see this work will be able to scale up our shorebird work, recovery work across Manomet. I have a question, and anyone who has questions, please type them in the chat. I'm gonna moderate the questions and sort of feed them to Jeisson. And actually, Jeisson, you can stop sharing your screen. That's fine.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
keep yourself on camera. Perfect. There were a lot of participants in this program. How did you all get the word out about the programs? Did you advertise? How did you get the word out to include people?
Yeah, well, because Wizards is connected with different partners in all the countries, we share with those partners that we were going to do this capacity building program. And many of the people who were speakers in this program were people working in these organizations.
Mm-hmm.
So they were sharing with their local partners. And also we use social media
Mm-hmm.
for this. We share we share the program in Facebook, on Instagram, and other social media.
And did people have to, did they have to be elected to join the program? Or, for example, I was impressed to see so many government agencies joined. That to me seems heartening that governments would be supportive of such conservation work. Or could anyone? Did they have to be associated with an organization or?
We were completely open to everyone to attend this basic training program because it was so basic that we felt that everyone is welcome to know about shorebirds. And it's very funny because I've been in a couple of spaces where someone asked me, I don't know why, they say, I was attending a shorebird training program. And even once the person didn't recognize at once my face, but later when I say I was working in that capacity building program, she remembered. But so and she was in shorebird conservation, yeah, but she works in education.
Oh,
so for me was like, this is great, like someone who works in education attend the capacity building program, and now she got tools to talk about shorebird conservation in their work.
that's fantastic.
Yeah.
How did you get interested in shorebird conservation work? What was your start in that?
When I was in my first year in the university, I knew a local organization here in Colombia, and they are like the first people that work with shorebirds in the country. And I started being when I was in my first year in the university, I volunteered for field work.
Oh,
And I went to the shore and I learned about shorebirds and putting the rings, banding, all that.
yeah,
And I was so happy, and that's how I got love with shorebirds and the and the ocean and all the animals in the ocean.
very good. Do you do field work still, or is it mostly office work nowadays?
No, now it's mostly office work. Yeah, it's not that fun that it was before. Yeah, yeah.
I'm always impressed also by our Manomet Flyways team ability to speak in multiple languages. Thank you for doing this presentation in English. We have people in the Flyways team who are bilingual, who are trilingual. I have a question that says, oh, what are your favorite tips or ideas you can give someone to help with shorebird conservation on their own? If they maybe they live near a coast or near a beach, are there things that we can do either if we're, the public?
Okay, well, the good news is that almost or in every country in Latin America or in the Western Hemisphere, there are several organizations like Manomet who works with shorebirds, and they are interesting. So I think that we can get closer to those organizations and see how can we help conserving. And I always say that it doesn't matter what you do in your life, you have a role to apply in biodiversity conservation. It doesn't matter what you do. You have a role, and you have an space, and you had an opportunity, and it's fun to do it. Yeah.
That's a nice message. I love that. What advice would you give for, say, a kid in high school or in college who is interested in this work? What are some ways that they can get involved?
Um, I think that they can ask their parents to take them to these organizations.
Yeah,
Yeah, and because many organizations in the Americas have has a program for kids or for youngers, and I think that that is fantastic that young people is interested in biodiversity conservation and shorebirds. And shorebirds are especially interesting because I always, every time I am in the coast or even in the forest and I see migratory birds who came from the United States and Canada, I say people here in Colombia, hey, you know what? That bird was born in North America. And that's something that hits people. It's like incredible. That little bird, that small bird in the beach came from the United States or Canada. That's amazing, and for kids it's fantastic to give that message that there are animals that are migrating from North America a bit distant to the tropics, and they are facing severe stress, and we can help them to make their journey safer and to try in this world.
Fantastic. Here's a question. What are your favorite birds and places to watch them?
Well, I love shorebirds, but I really like the seabirds. I I
Tell
I
me
lo-
what's the difference? Please tell me the difference.
well, seabirds lives usually very into the ocean. It's in the ocean, and very far from land, and they travel a large distance too. Probably I love them because my bachelor thesis was about one of those birds
Oh,
here in Colombia. So I think that's probably why. But I love all those birds that move so far. I love to see shorebirds in the coast and think, hey, you a couple of weeks you probably were in Mexico, or something like that. So yeah,
long distance travelers.
yeah.
What bird did you do your thesis on?
Brown booby.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
That's cool.
yeah. I
Uh,
was working about the diet of that bird.
oh,
Yeah.
what do they eat? Now I'm curious.
Mostly flying fishes
Oh,
and halfish.
cool.
Yeah.
I have another question. Ann Wiley says, in Florida, we have the Florida Shorebird Alliance. Oh, run by the FWCC. So our entire coastline is covered by volunteers, she says, in Florida. That's nice.
Yeah.
Fantastic. I also have a question from Lisa who says, oh, how did you keep, this is a good question. How did you keep people motivated to keep attending every week? Was there a certificate awarded or other support offered during the training? And have you followed up with people to see that they are using the training? So how do you follow up with people? Good question, Lisa Sorensen. Thank you.
Yeah. We every time they got into a session, we share a link where they can sign to keep a track of their attending.
Oh, great.
Yeah, and yes, we gave a certification, but I like seeing the comments of many people. In this when I was running this program, I got several messages from the attendees, just making a lot of questions. And I discovered that people is not only motivated by the certification, but also because they want to learn and they feel usually this is people that is interested already in conservation. um, and it's like they see this kind of training like a big opportunity to know more and to know more about what they can do to conserve shorebirds. So I think that was the main motivation. And if you can see the graphics in the presentation, you see that the satisfaction was really high. So I think that is the key to keep them attending the program.
I love that. Here's a question, because I saw in your graphs that many younger people were interested in the conservation efforts and learning about that. How, if that's true, how would we keep older people or interest older people in the shorebird conservation work? Older people who might own the land and are maybe sometimes in an interesting position and for the conservation work.
I
Is
think
there,
that,
yeah, go ahead.
no, continue.
No,
Yeah.
I was gonna say, is there a message to give the people who are older who might not immediately connect to the conservation message?
Yeah. I think that it is possible that young people already is more interested in conservation and more linked to the conservation organization in the Western Hemisphere. And I think that is the reason why we have uh, younger people, more younger people attending our program. And also because if you can see the ages, these ages is when people are making their bachelor or a PhD or a master or technical, I don't know how
Yeah,
to say,
technician.
technician, exactly. So I think that there is a relationship between age and the where they are in their educational level. Yeah, and I think that is the reason. And but it will be a good question to, I mean, I think that it is also related with the um, social sector. And for example, I am really interested to include more uh, uh, private sector in tree conservation.
Yeah,
Yeah,
business and companies who might have interest on
exactly,
the coast.
exactly.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I wonder if that could change a little bit that
Mm-hmm.
chart of
Mm-hmm.
ages. Yeah,
Interesting. Okay,
yeah.
interesting. How about, let's see, we have a question. What would be a good phrase, or wording for someone who might be doing harm to shorebirds? For example, driving an unauthorized car on the beach or dogs off a leash. Perhaps like why care for shorebirds or how do they benefit us? Is there something you might say to those people who maybe don't know that they're doing harm, but maybe are?
Yeah. I think that the first step is I always try to calm down because sometimes we can get like mad when someone is making harm to something we love, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the key here is to have an honest conversation about what are those birds and why they are important to us. I think
Mm-hmm.
that maybe people don't notice this, but sometimes to just invite that guy or that person to do some birding. For
Hmm.
example, I enjoy birds. Is That's
I love
how
that.
things starts, and then it's just like that I remember once I was working with people who shot raptors because the raptors eat their chickens,
Oh,
the hens,
yeah.
and I was showing them the beauty of these birds and how magnificent they are, and I remember that one guy said, now I won't ever kill any other raptor, even if that raptor
Hmm.
eats all my chicks, you know,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
because now I understand how important they are for our forests, and and that they are eating our chicks because they don't have food because we
Mm-hmm.
kill the food. It's something like that. It's like you need to. It's not something that your problem is solved in just one moment. Is something that you had to build, and
Mm-hmm.
and that is exactly what we do here when we build this kind of building program.
That's great. I have a question. Someone wants to, how do they sign up for next year's training? So you've
I
got
will.
already a participant.
Okay, great. Well, no, just to be aware of our social media in Manomet and Wizard, we will
We could send
be,
out a link too afterwards to everyone who participate in the webinar. How's
yeah,
that?
yeah, exactly, exactly. We can, uh, everyone who's seen it, we had is their email. We can share that also in
Perfect.
our news. Mhm.
Perfect. Here's Lisa Shibley, wants me to mention, which is very apropos, that anyone who is interested in contributing to shorebird conservation can participate in Manomet's International Shorebird Survey. And I'm gonna put that in the chat. Thank you, Lisa.
Great.
Um, we recruit volunteers, and especially we're looking for contributors across the Western Hemisphere. So that's an amazing program that at Manomet we help facilitate. Um, let's see, here's a question that says, what do you see in terms of plastic pollution and how are the birds affected? And is there a way to manage plastics better? That's a big question, but do you have any experience with that?
Not really,
Mm.
but I know that there are partners from Ecuador, for example, that are working in that topic. And something that we want to do now in my position as Pacific South American coordinator is to exchange experiences between partners in countries. But I think that they are making campaigns with local governments to collect plastic in beaches, and also they are yeah, they have like different educational programs to yeah, to let
It's
people know that they don't need to do that.
It is disturbing when you go along beaches, whether it's I'm in Massachusetts and we recently were in Central America as a staff for a staff retreat to see how many plastics and trash end up on the beaches. We just did a Director of Coastal Zone Initiative, Mike Molnar, organized a beach cleanup for us at Manomet. And yeah, it's disturbing to see how many plastics end up on the beach. For sure. It's a big problem to tackle. Let's see. Oh, let's see. There's a question from Laura who says, what are some challenges faced by South American bird conservationists as opposed to, say, what we deal with on the eastern seaboard here in New England? Are there different challenges that happen in South America versus New England or in North America?
I think that the main challenge here in South America is, and especially in the Pacific, is climate change, because that is affecting the structure of the coast, and is changing I mean their western sites that are important for shorebird migration, and if that areas are transformed by sea rise level,
Yeah.
that will affect shorebirds. So that's why climate change is considered the main threat for shorebird conservation in the Pacific America flyway.
Thank you. Okay, I have another question, which might be our last, depending. Jeisson, do you find that school children are interested in shorebirds, and are there any school programs on shorebirds or conservation in Colombia or Chile?
No, I haven't. But one of the attendees in the program, she, in her application, she write that she works with children. So
Oh, nice.
she
An
has
educator.
this character like Tia Hojita, like Uncle, no,
Oh,
yeah, Uncle Lip. I don't know.
uh-huh.
Yeah. Um, who yeah, she talks about
She uses
uh
the character
she
to,
is the character,
okay,
yeah, and
okay,
she works in
to help
with
educate the
kids,
kids.
exactly, in conservation. Yeah.
We do at Manomet too. We have colleagues in Argentina who are working on a program called Ambientale Experiencia, or I may have had that backwards, Experiencia Ambientalia,
Ambiental, yeah,
that
exactly.
work with high school students to get them involved with shorebird conservation, which has been actually amazing. And some Manomet colleagues are doing that work in Argentina.
Yeah, that is great that you bring that here, because she's really passionate.
Marina.
Marina Castellino, who is the people in charge of this program, she's very passionate and very smart in the work with young people, and and let's be honest, also, I mean, conservation is about emotions too. You know, you need people to get
Mm.
emotive about conservation, and that's part of our work here in the Wizards, in Wizard and in Manomet too.
It's really an interesting point you bring up about emotion, because oftentimes people have a general thought that scientists are not emotional because they work with a lot of data. But I can tell you, I'm not a scientist, but all of my colleagues who I work with at Manomet who are scientists actually are quite emotional about the work that they do. And it's pretty impressive to see. So that's a great point. I'll just mention one more before we close it out. Let's see. Lisa Sorensen says if anyone is attending from Caribbean islands, Birds Caribbean runs a waterbird shorebird monitoring program and invite people to participate. And that link is in the chat. So thank you.
Great.
This has been eye-opening for me for sure. And I've enjoyed it. And I'm going to say thank you so much, Jeisson, for sharing that inspiring work. And to all of our attendees, thank you for being here. If you're looking for more Manomet, please visit our events page. We have a First Friday Bird Walk on December 6th and another small sit on December 19th with author and ornithologist Tina Morris, and another one on January 22nd with Manomet Senior Fellow Trevor Lloyd Evans. And to learn more, visit our website at manomet.org or join the conversation on our socials. This small sit is going to be up on YouTube channel if you would like to share it with someone. And if you enjoyed today, we'd love for you to support our work directly with a donation online if you haven't already. And as we here in the States are celebrating Thanksgiving this week, a big shout out of thanks to everyone out there who's doing amazing conservation work and to the people that support them, which includes all of you here. Again, thank you, Jeisson, for that amazing presentation. We at the Small Sit are signing off. Thank you so much and goodbye.
Thank you so much.
Adios. Hasta luego.
Adiós. Muchas gracias.
Okay. Gracias, Jeisson.
Wow.
Take care.